What is the Clean Energy Act? What vehicles qualify under the act? Do we even want this bill to pass? And how does this bill affect us? Welcome back to Friday News Recap, where we're going to be recapping every single Friday what news has happened during the week. All that coming up next. Alright, so we're focusing on the Clean Energy Act today because for me it personally really affects me. We're going to talk about more about this today. We have a Model Y on order that is due to be delivered between December 18th this month, December, and December 31st. And so what happens with these bills really has a lot of effect on what we're going to do and what decision we're going to make on this Model Y. Now again, we're going to get to that a little bit later. First, let's talk about what this bill actually is trying to do, what it is. So the first thing you have to realize is that there are two different versions of this bill. One that has been drafted and approved by the Senate, one that has been drafted and approved by the House. Now, some Tesla vehicles do qualify for these credits, but the amount of the credit is going to be different based upon which bill actually gets approved. If the Senate bill gets approved, the max credit you can get is $10,000, and I'll talk about how you get that. And if the House bill gets approved, the max you can get is $8,000. If you employ union workers and the House bill passes, then you get an additional $4,500 bonus added on to your credit. If the Senate bill passes and you employ union workers, then you will get an additional $2,500 bonus added on to your credit. Okay, so that's kind of the overall view of what this bill is actually trying to do. But let's break it all down into the actual comparisons of the two bills to see what the pros and cons of each of these actually are and how they apply to Tesla vehicles. So both bills start off with a credit of $7,500. But that's pretty much where they completely separate. So the Senate bill is what's called retroactive. So basically, if you purchased a Tesla after May 24th, 2021, and the Senate bill is the one that goes through, then you will qualify for that $7,500 credit. And to qualify with the Senate bill, you have to have a battery in your electric vehicle of at least 15 kilowatt hours. Now with the House bill, again, it starts off with $7,500 credit as well, but it is not proven yet, or it's not stated yet, or confirmed yet if it's going to be retroactive or not. So in other words, if you bought a vehicle in the past, we don't know for sure yet if it's going to qualify or not. So for those people who bought their car already, you'd be kind of hoping that that is the case, that they are going to go backwards, or that the Senate bill is the one that actually passes. And the House bill requires a 40 kilowatt battery. So just to put a Tesla vehicle in perspective, the Model 3 and Y range anywhere between 50 to 82 kilowatt hours. So they qualify for either bill. And to break it down into like the truck, so we can compare it to other vehicles, the Cybertruck has about a 200 to 250 kilowatt battery is what it's going to come with. The Rivian R1T truck has a 180 kilowatt hour battery, and the Ford electric truck 110 to 130 kilowatt hour battery. So that pretty much means most of the vehicles you're seeing out there that are being talked about everywhere will qualify for this tax credit. So now let's talk about how you go from $7,500 credit and get that increased up to the $8,000 or $10,000 or $12,000. So the Senate bill offers a $2,500 bonus if the car is assembled here inside the United States, which is why people that are buying the Teslas not made in the United States will not get that credit. So this is why there's a $10,000 credit with the Senate bill, because you get the $7,500 initial credit that's retroactive, plus you're going to get the $2,500 bonus because the car was made here in the United States. So $7,500 plus a $25 bonus gets you that $10,000. As far as the House bill, it's not specified if there's going to be any bonus, but it doesn't look like there's any bonus if the car is made here in the United States. But the thing to remember about this bonus is that $2,500 is not retroactive. So remember, the $7,500 was retroactive back to May 2021, more specifically May 24th, 2021. But to get the bonus itself, the car has to be purchased after December 31st, 2021. So you may qualify for the $7,500 credit, but you may not qualify for the bonus if you don't get the car in 2022, pretty much January 1st, 2022. This is where the conundrum comes up with me having my pickup date, my delivery date right at the very end of the year. And at the end of this video, we're going to talk about how I could potentially get it moved to next year and what are the risks associated with that. So make sure you stick around for that, because this is a question that a lot of people have. Should I defer my delivery to get this actual tax credit? So what part of the Senate and the House bill do not help out Tesla vehicles? Well, it all has to do with the union workers workers. The Senate bill offers that $2,500 bonus if there are union workers building the car. Obviously, Tesla does not use union workers, as we talked about, so that's off the table, which is why that Senate bill stays at $10,000 and doesn't bump up to that maximum credit of $12,500. The House bill offers $4,500 credit. And remember, it doesn't offer the $2,500 built in the United States. So this is where that difference comes in. So if a company, a manufacturer that makes EVs, employs union workers, they go from $7,500 up to that $12,500 credit by having union workers working in their factories. So that's how they both get to that max credit. But again, Tesla doesn't employ union workers, so none of those bonuses apply, which is why all Tesla purchased vehicles will come with a tax credit of either $8,000 or $10,000. But I know what you're saying right now. You're saying, well, hold on a second, Cody. You said $7,500 for the initial credit, and then $4,500 for the union workers. That still doesn't add up to $12,500, nor does $7,500 plus nothing equal up to $8,000 on that House bill. So how does it get to that? Well, there's an additional $500 if the battery is made in the United States with the House bill. This does not qualify or not count towards the Senate bill, but on the House bill, there's an additional $500. So Tesla batteries are made in the United States, so therefore you get an additional $500 bonus for that, bringing the total for the House bill to $12,500 or $8,000 for the Tesla vehicles. So now the next question is, which Tesla vehicles actually qualify for the credit? And this has all been regulated by the cost, the MSRP of the vehicles themselves. And different types of models have different caps. So let's go through those. So for the Senate bill, anything at or above $80,000 doesn't qualify. So if your vehicle MSRP is below $80,000, you're going to qualify for the credit. It's very simple. So that means most of your Model 3s and Ys, including the performance, would actually qualify. But on the House bill, this is where it gets interesting because it's broken down amongst different vehicles. And in this case, the sedans, like the Model 3 and S, is $55,000 and lower will qualify for the credit. So that means that the 3 will qualify, but the S does not qualify. And the S also doesn't qualify for the Senate either because it's also over $80,000. And again, this only applies to new vehicles. We're going to talk about used vehicles in a minute. There's a distinction for vans at $64,000, but Tesla doesn't make a van. Then there's SUVs like the Model Y and X, which have a cap of $69,000. So again, the Model X is not going to qualify. It costs way too much, more than double that in a lot of cases. And the Model Y qualifies for anything that is a standard or long-range model. And that's the same with the Model 3, the standard and long-range model. The performance vehicle on both of those are over those caps, and so they would not qualify. And as far as EV trucks go, anything under $74,000 is going to qualify. So when the Cybertruck comes out, if it comes out while there's still a credit being offered, it will also qualify for the tax credit on either of these House or Senate bills. So when does it end? How long is this credit going to go? And this is a really important question to really hammer out because one of the big concerns that we're going to have is, well, do I need to hurry up and buy the car so it doesn't disappear? We all remember when Tesla's initial credit came out, the first 200 vehicles sold got that, that initial credit. I think it was like $7,000 or $7,500 credit that you got if you're in the first 200 vehicles. But after that, you didn't get it. So a big concern people have is how soon is this going to go away? Well, here's the answer. So for the Senate bill, when EVs exceed 50% of annual new car sales in the United States, that's when it's going to go away. And so once that happens, then it's going to have a 3-year phase out period that we don't know exactly what it's going to look like yet. But basically we pass 50%, it's going to phase out and disappear and be gone 3 years later. But just to put that in perspective, in 2020, only 1.8% of vehicles made, new vehicles made in the United States were electric vehicles. So, I mean, that's basically meaning for years to come, you're going to have that EV credit available, at least 2 or 3 years. So if you're on the fence ready to buy one and you're worried about the credit not being there, assuming these bills pass, you're going to have plenty of time to qualify for it. And the House bill is very simple. They basically just said December 31st, 2031. So that gives you plenty of time as well on either of the bills. So is there any time constraints involved in either of these bills? In terms of it expiring, no. In terms of when you bought your vehicle, yes. So to make that crystal clear, May 24, 2021, if the Senate bill passes, if you bought the car after that, you will qualify because it is retroactive. House bill, no. You pretty much are going to have to buy it from the time the bill comes out, basically 2022 and newer is what we're assuming you're gonna have to purchase a car by to qualify. Any of the bonuses are December 31st or newer to qualify for the bonuses. So the initial $7,500 is gonna be there for the Senate for retroactive May 24th, and then everything else is basically 2020 and newer. So now what if you want to buy a used Tesla? You're not buying it brand new. Is there any kind of a credit for that? And the answer for that is yes, but you have to qualify for it based upon your adjusted gross income. So for the Senate and House bill, there's a $2,500 credit available. For an individual, you have to have adjusted gross income of $75,000 or less. The head of household, $112,500 or less. Or if you're married filing jointly, it's $150,000 or less. I think this is really great because maybe you can't afford to buy a brand new car, or maybe you don't want to, but you still would like to be involved in the Tesla world. You want a credit. This is going to really help make a lot of this stuff more affordable. First of all, you're buying a used vehicle, so it's probably a little bit cheaper than new, although lately it's been kind of like close. But on top of that, you get this $2,500 back, which really helps. I mean, that's going to pay your monthly charging bills at your house for the next 9 years. I mean, I pay $32 a month on average, so that's going to cover a lot of months charging. But if your adjusted gross income is over that and you buy a used vehicle, you're not going to get any kind of credit. So that's kind of the bullet points and facts about the bill and how it works, what the credits are. But now it gets into more of a discussion. Do we actually want the bill to pass? Well, for this, I think it kind of depends on who you are. If you're trying to buy a Tesla and you're trying to save up and you've been waiting and you're kind of wondering when you should do it, well, of course you want the bill to pass, especially when you're buying a $60,000 vehicle. It'd be nice to have a $50,000 loan or have paid $50,000 rather than, $60,000. Of course, that's a good thing. We all want that. If you're not buying it, then you look at it from a different perspective. And one way to look at this is what Elon said the other day. Look at what Elon said. So he was talking at a Wall Street Journal CEO Council Summit, and he said that it might be better if the bill doesn't pass. Now, I know this sounds counterproductive to Tesla because obviously the more they have subsidies and help with stuff like that, the more people are going to buy Teslas, which is good for Tesla. But what he was really saying here was that he just wants to get rid of all subsidies because they're just massively exploding the amount of debt that the United States is already under. So Elon's not exactly sure that he wants this bill to pass because he doesn't want to keep increasing the United States debt, which of course makes a ton of sense. But again, if you're buying a Tesla, and that makes a big difference to you as a buyer. So now let's boil it down to what it means to be a buyer today, okay? So I'm a buyer. I got a Model Y coming here, like I said, between December 18th and December 31st. So what are my options? What am I worried about? What are my concerns? So what happens is at this point, I've been assigned a VIN, and the Tesla factory, they're building my car right now. I'm just waiting for the paperwork and basically the date of telling me when I have to go pick up and schedule the delivery for my car. So now if the Senate bill passes, then I'll still qualify for the $7,500 credit. Okay, that's fine. But what I won't qualify if I accept it in that window is the bonus, the $2,500 bonus that will come from the car being built here in the United States. I will not get that. So my total credit, if I take it at the end of this month, will be $7,500. Now, Tesla allows you to defer this one time. And when you defer, what they're doing is they actually take your VIN number you're assigned and give it to someone else, which they may or may not want, okay? And then they will reassign you a second VIN number sometime within 30 days of you deferring it. Okay, so now here's the actual risk. Let's say that on December 20th this year, okay, this month, I get told, all right, it's official, this is the window your car is going to be delayed in, there's going to be no more delays for your delivery, it's time to start scheduling and doing the rest of the paperwork, completing the process to get your car. And I say, no, let's go ahead and defer it once. That VIN number, the new VIN number that they're going to give me, could still come this year. There's no guarantee that it will be 30 days. It could be 24 hours before you're assigned another VIN number, in which case you deferred one because you didn't want it at the end of the year, but you got another one still that's not going to be a 2022 model. It still can end up being a model for 2021. So just by deferring it, there's no guarantee that it's going to end up being a 2022 model, which means that the purchase time of that vehicle is still going to be too early to get the actual bonus of the $2,500 or the $500 on the house bill. Now, this is a risk that I'm going to take regardless because it's worth it to me. There's no loss for trying it, but you just have to understand it doesn't mean it's going to be deferred too far. Now, my hope that I'm wishing is that I don't get told until December 31st or at the very end of the month that it's time to go and schedule this and get this done. So when I defer it, it's because a very high likelihood that's going to be pushed into 2022, and then I'll qualify for the bonuses. Now, the next question is, can you defer it again? The answer is yes, you can, but here's the risk you're taking. Tesla has a complete right to cancel your order. Okay, if you defer it more than twice, Tesla 100% can cancel your order. Take a look at this conversation I had right here with the ordering staff at Tesla, where I specifically clarified this question. They guarantee you for sure can defer it once, you for sure can get a new VIN number one time without them canceling your order, without them putting you to the back of the line. Okay, it's going to be sometime in the next 30 days or so. But if you do it another time, then, not saying they will, but they can cancel your order, give your second VIN to someone else, and now what happens is you got to go and rebuy that car again, re-put down your $100 that would have refunded you, and now guess what? Now you're paying the full price for the new cars. And see, this is the thing. I bought my car when it was only $53,000. Okay, so keep that in mind, $53,000. So now they're selling for $6,000 more at $59,000. So that is $6,000 I would then have to pay more because I deferred it trying to get $2,500 more in a bonus. You see the risk there? The numbers don't add up. Now, if you hadn't pre-reserved a car in the past and you're just buying it right now, you're obviously paying full price anyway, it doesn't really matter. But if you bought it in the past, then you gotta be really careful and watch those numbers, because if you do something to risk your order and you get canceled, you're now gonna have to pay full price for the new cost, what they're going for now, plus there's still no guarantee you're going to get it pushed into next year. So for me, if I can get the credit of $2,500 or $7,500, even if it's at the end of this year, plus the $6,000 in savings that because I don't have to pay the full price for the car because I reserved it back in February, okay, for $53,000, that's way more money off the price than if I just bought the car today. So I know that can be kind of confusing, but for me, best case scenario is that I get my window at the very end of the month, I defer it one time into January, get the car in January, I get the credit, the house bill passes, and everything's all good. Okay, so let's talk about some very serious questions that are still up in the air, and these are a really big deal because they can completely change the bill. So the first one is, what is the status of this? What's happening next with the bill? So the House passed the bill, right, not too long ago, and now it's sitting in the Senate. And the Senate is supposedly voting on this before Christmas. So hopefully by the end of the year, we will have an answer as to how this bill is going to look and when it's going to take effect. So will the bill change as it goes through the Senate? Maybe. It might change. And we're referring to the House bill right now. We're kind of hoping it does. And that leads to the very last thing I want to mention here, and that is that we need to know here, and this is the biggest distinction that this bill could really make for us, is will this bill be refundable or non-refundable? Let me explain what that means. So non-refundable, which is the way that the bill was before the House changed it and sent it to the Senate, what that means is that you don't get a credit back. You'll never get an actual check or cash in hand. Instead, it reduces the amount of taxes you owe, at the end of the year. So if you, let's say, owed $10,000 in taxes this year, and you got, let's say you qualified for the $7,500 credit because you bought the car, say, in September. Well, what happens then is you would then only owe $2,500 instead. And that's the way that the Senate had approved it originally, is that it would be non-refundable. And the reason why they do that is because that reduces the amount of money that the government has to pay out to people. Because if you only owed $5,000, then that would just be simply wiped out. You're not going to get a check though for $2,500 to make up the difference with a non-refundable bill. And on that same note, if you don't normally pay taxes at all, maybe you get money back every year and you buy a car thinking you're going to get this credit. No, this bill will do nothing for you if the Senate does not sign off to make it an actual refundable credit. So if the Senate signs it the way it is right now, which was passed by the House, what will happen is it will be an actual refundable credit. So if say, the end of the year you owe zero money in taxes, you'll actually get a physical check sent to you for up to $8,000 or $10,000, depending on the bill, from the actual refund, which is obviously, I think, what a lot of people want, but it will greatly increase the debt that the federal government goes into paying this, because where they wouldn't pay you anything before, now they're going to pay you the full amount. So that's what we're really waiting to see what happens with this bill, and that's going to make a huge difference going forward and how it affects buyers. So that's where the bill is at right now and how it all works. As more information comes available about this, I will keep you guys posted on our Friday news updates. Please take a moment to go down and like and comment below this video. It really helps keep this video moving and helps this video grow and this channel grow by you doing that. It's all based upon the YouTube algorithm. So when you hit that like button, you're doing more than just liking the video. You're helping my channel grow and you're helping me continue doing this. So I appreciate all of you, and have a great rest of your week, and I'll talk to you guys on the next one.